In Fulton County, they have something they call the Citizen Review Board. And the Citizen Review Board is comprised of people who've been appointed by agencies and government and corporations to pose as agents for the citizenry. There's no way that a non-people elected, a non-people appointed board, B-O-A-R-D, can truly be a citizen review board if they are agents of agencies, government, and corporations. As the founder of the Regional Citizen Review Authority, and formerly known as the Regional Citizen Review Authority, and now the Citizen Human Indigenous Authority, I would like to discuss with you briefly how to make a better citizen review or citizen authority. How to make a citizen authority. In the centennial year of 2000, we launched the Citizen Review Authority with the inauguration at the state building in Akron, Ohio. And we launched this because of the atrocities, brutality, human rights abuses, and police brutalities that we were all experiencing. We then trained volunteers to understand the codes of conduct for judges, prosecutors, and lawyers, had them sit in on cases, identify the misdeeds, and write them up as per the Department of Justice criminal survey form. And then we faxed them into the Department of Justice the same day. But now we understand that there's a lot of continual practices that were larger than just police and citizen and government and corporations. And so after consulting with a lawyer who's on the board of the Citizen Review Authority, he was saying some important things that you should know if you're considering putting together any type of response to this. He said that, one, his board here in Fulton County could only hear about 30% of the complaints because their mission statement was wrote so narrowly to only deal with police. He also said that if you're going to make a citizen review board, that you should make it as strong as possible, affecting as many areas as possible, because the very same people you're supposed to go and levy support for will ultimately weaken and minimize your efforts. So understanding that that is the case, the Regional Citizen Review Authority modified and expanded to include citizens, humans, and indigenous. And we said that because private corporations have now taken on the rights of a person. And so they would easily get on the board and cooperate. So you have to be at least two things. You have to be human, you have to be indigenous or a citizen. And these are some comprehensive things that we're looking at. Not only did we talk about identifying judicial impropriety and prosecuting misconduct and holding them accountable, we also looked at creating alternative dispute resolution so you don't have to keep taking your case to corrupt courts who are selling your cases like slaves on the auction block. The next thing that we looked at is funding, how it's funded. Previously, it was funded by those who wanted to be on the board with signed petitions, get 250 to 500 signatures and $1 per signature, turn in the dollars and signatures, and then be put as consideration on the board, be voted. Those who are selected become board members, or elected become board members, and those who are not selected become participants in our practicum to get them ready for leadership. And now we're looking at funding from a different perspective, that we should pass a public initiative or pass a plebiscite to put public initiatives on the ballot if you don't have them, like in Georgia. And then the first public initiative is to recognize the Citizen Human Indigenous Authority and fund it by a 2 to 5% tax on corporate income and on inheritance taxes. And we do it those two areas because one, corporations are pillaging our area and not paying taxes, not paying a lot of taxes. And then because in slavery, the energy and wealth of the black diaspora was transferred to whites from generation to generation through inheritance tax. So those are the two taxable ways to fund the Regional Citizen Review Authority and the CHI initiative, or the CHI Authority. Now, there's two other things that can fund it, and I spoke to you about that before. 3,000 people giving $3,000 creates $9 million to create 250-foot domes that qualify as disaster relief shelters. They're built so well. We build 12 sub-levels to the dome, and where we work, school, and reside. Now, for example, the Dome Initiative can be used to free our family from prison. Right now, the prison industrial complex is a racist institution that's fueling and capturing our people, and the government is paying for that capture and detention and housing. So, if 3,000 people gave $3,000 as a part of our founding fathers, mothers, we can then create that $9 million facility with 3 domes, 200 to 250 diameter circumference with 12 sub-levels. We then take the inmate detention and transitional housing, and we make that for the inmates, prisoners, and detainees of these jails, prisons, and detention centers, and rehab. What that'll do is give us a minimum of $75 per day, and at 3,000 inmates, which that dome would have a capacity of 3,300, but at 3,000 capacity, we would then be creating and raising $225,000 a day, $81.9 million a year. There's no other plan by anyone, including the Nation of Islam or commissioners running for office or your local preacher or your teachers or visionaries. No one else is giving you the kind of information and the kind of strategic options that we're giving you, and we're asking you to ask yourself, what is that worth? When you have a visionary, when you know that you haven't had leaders, you have bleeders. When you know you had misleaders and not real teachers. What's it like to have a real commander that's bringing to you doable options to rescue you from freedom, to rescue you from racist prison? What's it worth to you? That's what we have to ask you today, because we want you to consider contributing in every way possible, by every means necessary, to make this a reality. Use this program as a public initiative to begin to garner the support and bring in transparency as we put it together. Now, one of the Q&As asked me, what's the operational objective? In other words, how you guys function and work. And I told them it's very easy. You go to, just look up and get Gene Roddenberry's book on Star Trek: The Next Generation Manual, and take a look at the command structure and operations. We take it damn near verbatim from that, because that's the most futuristic, efficient, and effective organism or organization that we've seen. And so we're using that so that you can just go to the library or Google it and know how we operate. No proper operation. Know where to get in, where you fit in. There's absolutely no skill set that can't be used. We can even use people who are suicidal. We got missions that there's no return. You can die in honor and not in shame. We're asking you to stand up and realize that the duty of every citizen is to stand against tyranny, and where tyranny is present, you have to mobilize, organize, and do the damn thing. Now, I've got to tell you, if you didn't know it, we're at war. Oh yes, we're at war. See, when they shoot you for going for your cell phone, they shoot you for going for the ID that they ask you to do. They shoot you for just standing in a place in the front of your home. Not only that, they don't just shoot you because you're a black man. They shoot you because you're black. They shot a 80-something-year-old woman over 34 times and then lied on her and set up a lie. So you know that if they do it to an 84-year-old woman, they'll do it to you. They also threw a percussion grenade in the crib of Baby Boo on a no-knock warrant. These judicial improprieties signing no-knock warrants. Now, the first no-knock warrant I know was against the Move Complex. They shot the men, they shot the women, they shot the children, they even shot the dogs. These racists don't care about you. Now, that's what happened in the Move Complex with the no-knock warrant. Now, what happened since the no-knock warrant? Well, down here in Atlanta, they threw a percussion grenade in a child's baby crib. The percussion grenade went off and blew off part of the baby's face. And they lied to the parents and even told them that there was no problem when the baby was bleeding and unconscious and losing life. That's not enough for you that they shoot a 18-month-old child. They shoot baby girls who was in the bed. The police started shooting and it killed the baby girl that was just lying in the bed. So if they shoot baby Boo, 18 months old, they shoot a 6-year-old baby girl, they shoot an 80-year-old woman 34 times, they shoot you for going for your shoot you for going for your cell phone, going for the ID. You're in war. If that's not enough for you, take a look in the sky. They got chemtrails dropping barium and other poisonous gases on you and then put you in jail for what you inhaled. Ain't that a bit? This means being intentionally treacherous and hateful, like an acronym. If that's not enough, they then put nuclear plants on critical fault lines. They put nuclear plants on shore coasts. They put nuclear plants in dangerous places. You got to be hoping that there's a disaster, or you wouldn't put a nuclear plant on a fault line. Then let me tell you what they did. The FBI stole Tesla's design. Tesla had a design that had free electricity. To be honest with you, let me turn this up a little bit. Okay, now Tesla went to Egypt, studied the Great Pyramid, and realized that the Great Pyramid could be an electric factory. With ionization and channeling ionization, he realized that and then developed the Tesla coil. And the Tesla coil allowed free electricity for the world. This was Tesla's gift to humanity. But what happened? The FBI and General Edison fought Tesla because they didn't want you to have free electricity. They wanted to pimp you every month with an electric bill. And that's what they do. And so we're saying, because they stole 5 minutes after Tesla died, the FBI went in Tesla's